First Ladies of Botswana, Chad, Congo, Ghana, Niger, and Rwanda. Please be seated. Thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let's please rise to welcome His Excellency President Paul Kagame, together with His Excellency President of Mozambique. Your Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Your Excellency Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, Excellencies, First Ladies, Excellencies, Heads of International Organizations, Honorable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Anshtaina Dizeye. It is an honor to be your Master of Ceremonies today. As a medical student and a young woman, being on the 20th ICASA is a great honor. This is the biggest forum on AIDS and STIs on the continent and one of the biggest in the world. I am certain that the outcomes of this gathering will contribute to an AIDS-free Africa, and we will be there to witness it. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the 20th edition of ICASA. To begin our opening ceremony, I wish to invite Professor John Idoko, President of ICASA 2019 and the Society of AIDS in Africa, to give his welcome remarks, followed by Honorable Dr. Diane Gashumba, Rwanda's Minister of Health and ICASA 2019 Vice President. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, Your Excellency, the President of Mozambique, apologies. So good afternoon once more. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, Your Excellency, the President of Mozambique, President Filipe Nyusi, Her Excellency, the First Lady of Rwanda, Mrs. Janet Kagame, and all other First Ladies present, Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome all of you on behalf of the Board of the Society for AIDS in Africa, the co-organizers of this important conference, to the 20th ICASA, holding in the beautiful city of Kigali. Let me start by first expressing our sincere gratitude on behalf of the Board of the Society for AIDS in Africa to His Excellency President Kagame and his government for their support, without which this conference would not have taken place. We are grateful to Kigali, the Rwandese people, for their very warm welcome and hospitality. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate Winnie Byanyima, the new UN's Executive Director. And to reiterate, the Society for AIDS in Africa looks forward to you to provide the much needed leadership as we continue the journey to end AIDS by 2030. According to the UN's 2019 report, we have continued to make gains and progress in the last 4 decades in the fight against this epidemic. But these gains are getting smaller from year to year. We have witnessed a steady progress in the reduction of AIDS-related deaths, but efforts to reach the 2020 targets for reduction in HIV infections are clearly off track. Therefore, the HIV pandemic is likely to remain a major global challenge for the foreseeable future. Millions of people will require sustained access to antiretroviral therapy. More efforts will be required to prevent resurgence of HIV among the large and ever-increasing population of young people, especially in Africa, and the need to intensify efforts to address the high prevalence among key populations in many of our countries. This year's conference in Kigali is held under the theme AIDS-Free Africa through innovation, community, and political leadership. This theme brings into sharp focus our commitment as a continent, and with support from our bilateral and multilateral partners, the need to be innovative and inclusive if we are to end AIDS by holding ourselves to account to achieve our set targets. The theme also builds up from Africa's efforts and aspirations of the past 4 decades in the fight against HIV, and is meant to renew the continent's commitment by drawing attention to the fact that the legacy of ending AIDS by 2030 is now under threat as a result of the widening gap between resource needs and resource availability due to significant declines at global and national levels. We therefore urge all our partners to step up action to invest in the response, and we call on our governments to seek domestic solutions for a more sustainable response on the continent. Communities remain the epicenter of Africa's response. This is reinforced by this year's World AIDS Day theme, Communities Make a Difference. It is imperative, therefore, that we continue to focus on community systems strengthening for health to achieve efficiency and accountability of the health system, as well as realizing constitutional rights of citizens' health through adequate resource allocation. We've learned a lot of lessons from the multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder AIDS response, including engagement of civil societies, which are key to progress across sustainable development goals and achieving universal health coverage. We've seen an extraordinary knowledge, skills, and expertise that have been built, new ways of implementation, and embedding evidence-based practice. AIDS response, therefore, has garnered substantial experience for integration into other infectious diseases and sexual and reproductive health, and also addressing entrenched social norms, social exclusion, and legal barriers that undermine health and development outcomes. The threat posed by non-communicable diseases and emerging infections cannot be overemphasized. And this conference remains alive to the need to continuously create space for candid discussions around these diseases, as well as utilizing the over 3 decades of experience gained in fighting HIV to craft strategies to respond to these new threats. Let me thank, in my concluding remarks, the partners and sponsors of this conference who have always supported ICASA through the years. Our thanks also go to all our dear delegates, but without you there is no conference. We must express special appreciation to the Board of the Society for AIDS in Africa, the Ministry of Health of Rwanda, the Rwandan Convention Bureau, who worked tirelessly to ensure that we host this conference with a success. We also thank the international steering committees that did all the planning initially for this conference. We thank also the the ICASA Conference Director, and the Secretariat. We thank the media and all those of you who directly or indirectly have contributed to the successful organization of the 20th ICASA. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Your Excellency, Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Your Excellency, Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, Excellencies, First Ladies, Heads of Delegations, distinguished guests, I greet you and welcome you to Rwanda. My country is very delighted to host this very important conference. Let me reiterate our appreciation to our sponsors and partners for their support in organizing this conference and in combating HIV. ICASA is an opportunity for Africans to learn from each other and to join together with those working in the field of HIV. In Rwanda, our fight against the HIV/AIDS epidemic is grounded in the principle that those affected should be at the center of the response. For example, the integration of HIV treatment into maternal and child services has led to more equitable access to prevention and treatment. 91% of the Rwandan population is covered by health insurance. 99% of pregnant women are tested for HIV. 95% of our kids are fully vaccinated, and early infant diagnosis is fully integrated into this service. As per the UNAIDS recent report, 97% of HIV positive people in Rwanda are on treatment. And 90% are suppressing the viral load. I'm glad to take this opportunity to thank my leadership, the leadership of President Kagame, in collaboration with partners. In close collaboration with our dear partners, we have managed to put our people at the center of each intervention that is being made in the health sector and in other sectors. Yesterday, we celebrated the World AIDS Day, and this was done through a mass sport exercise across the country. Thanks to the thousands of young people, including our First Lady, including Dr. Tedros, who joined this exercise. This exercise was beyond sport. It was about health. It was about combating non-communicable diseases. Thanks to all the youth for the vibrant and interactive pre-conference we had yesterday, and thanks to the First Ladies for the very inspiring messages we got this morning during their conference. Excellencies, distinguished guests, we must continue to collaborate closely and not rest until we have a generation without AIDS in Africa. Before I conclude, je voudrais vous demander, quand vous visitez les health facilities au Rwanda, quand vous visitez les drones, joignez l'utile à l'agréable. Visitez nos parcs, visitez les gorilles, savourez nos montagnes, nos volcans, savourez les 310 espèces d'oiseaux rares qui sont au Rwanda, 1000 types de plantes au Rwanda, savourez Kigali by night. Il y a la sécurité. La sécurité est assurée. Visitez Kigali, joignez l'utile à l'agréable. Le ministère de la Santé, en collaboration avec le Rwanda Development Board, nous sommes là pour vous guider. Nous sommes là pour faire en sorte que votre séjour au Rwanda soit des plus agréables. Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République, Excellencies, je vous remercie.
Thank you, Professor Indoko. Thank you, Minister Gashumba, for your remarks. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage our very own national ballet, Urukerereza, together with young talents from Nyundo School of Music for their performance.
Belong together. We are meant to lift each other up. They say I am because you are. Then where would I go without my backbone? How would I move without your steps to? How would I reach my destiny without your hands combined with mine? I believe we have to live this life, live it and celebrate it. So let's hold hands and write books of humanity to create stories of acceptance, stories of love, stories of freedom, stories of our lives. Cette vie est faite pour vous et moi. Célébrons-la et montons ensemble. Toi et moi méritons la liberté d'aimer ce que nous sommes, aimer notre façon de vivre et de grandir. Maisha ni yetu, tuna haki ya kuishi vizuri. I sing for the victory of living. I dance because I know tomorrow doesn't look like yesterday. I write songs of liberty and poems of hope because I know I overcame a lot. And I move with confidence. We belong together, and we have to win this together. AIDS-free Africa.
Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, to deliver his remarks.
Amakuru. Bravo. Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, Your Excellency, President Filipe Nyusi, Excellency, First Lady Gannet Kagame, Excellencies, First Ladies, and ICASA President, Professor John Idoko, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, and friends. First of all, I would like to say I'm really delighted to be home for this very important event. The theme of this year's conference is an AIDS-free Africa. This is a theme that once we would not have even dreamed of. We would have thought it was too ambitious, too presumptuous. But the fact that we now have a conference with a theme like this shows how far we have come. Rwanda is a perfect example. Of course, the minister had already said it. Allow me to repeat some of them, some of the figures. As you know, as the minister said, more than 90% living with HIV in this country know their status. With almost all of them, 98% are on life-saving treatment. Of those, 90% have achieved viral suppression. So this leads us to believe, and that makes Rwanda one of the few countries to achieve the 90-90-90 target. New HIV infections and AIDS-related deaths have dropped by more than half over the last decade. The progress here in Rwanda is nothing short of incredible, but it's not enough. Globally, of the 37.9 million people living with HIV at the end of last year, more than 80% now know their status. More than 60% receive treatment, and more than half have achieved viral suppression. The number equals overall progress in Africa, where 75% of all people with HIV live. Millions of people are on treatment. Even better, millions of people are not on treatment because they have the tools to protect themselves. We have accelerated research and development. We have pushed back the boundaries of science and are now in hot pursuit of a cure. We have championed the rights of the most marginalized and vulnerable. And all of this has enabled us to dream of an AIDS-free world. It's a theme that reflects the ambition of the Sustainable Development Goals to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. This is an ambition to which WHO is firmly committed. But we must be realistic. Numerous challenges stand between us and the realization of that dream. The gains we have made are under threat, with the signs of wavering political commitment and declining funding. In 2018, 770,000 people died from HIV, and 1.7 million people were newly infected, and the vast majority of these cases and deaths occurred here in our continent. We know who these people are. Over half of people newly infected with HIV belong to key population groups and their partners, such as men who have sex with men, people who use drugs, sex workers, transgender people, and prisoners. In this region, young people are the most vulnerable, especially adolescent girls who account for 3 in 4 of new infections. We have the tools to prevent these new infections, like PrEP, condoms, and voluntary medical male circumcision. But more effort is needed to improve access and uptake of these tools alongside antiretroviral therapy. Testing and treatment efforts neglect the needs of our children. Half of the children living with HIV lack access to testing and treatment, with coverage levels lower than among adults. Of children receiving treatment, 2 in 3 are on medicine. The question is, what do we need to do to overcome these challenges? The theme of this conference doesn't only give us the vision of an AIDS-free Africa, it also tells us how to get there: innovation, community, and political leadership. Allow me to finish with 3 challenges for all of us in each of these 3 areas. First, innovation. Innovation has brought us this far in the fight against HIV, and innovation is essential for overcoming the obstacles we still face. We need better treatments, better diagnostics, and we still need an HIV vaccine. But we also need innovative ways of delivering services to reach key populations and marginalized communities, to retain people in prevention and treatment services, and for those with HIV to promote lifetime adherence to treatment. WHO guidelines now recommend the simplest, most innovative ways to deliver person-centered HIV testing, treatment, care, and support, integrated with other health services. Second, community. Since the early days of HIV, communities of affected people have been the driving force of the response, and we all know this. And they must continue to be. New tools can only be effective if they are developed with and embraced by the people who need them. I have seen many of these communities in action, from mentor mothers in Lesotho to community pharmacists in Nigeria and adolescent treatment supporters in Zimbabwe. Our job as leaders is to listen to what these communities are telling us they need, rather than telling them what they need, they should have. That is the meaning of people-centered care. But we also need to address the full range of health needs. We must give children pediatric ARVs alongside vaccinations for measles and hepatitis B. We must give women testing services for HIV and syphilis, but also for breast cancer. We must offer men who have sex with men PrEP, but also services for mental health. We must give communities condoms, but also smoking cessation services. And we must do it all as part of an overarching commitment to universal health coverage. Which brings me to the third challenge, political leadership. I know from my own experience that support from the highest levels of government is essential for making real progress. That's what enabled us to make progress in Ethiopia. And that's one of the key lessons here in Rwanda. The results you have achieved would not have been possible without Your Excellency's vision and leadership, not only for HIV, but for universal health coverage. Your Excellency, President Kagame, please accept my respect and appreciation for your strong commitment and leadership, not only to HIV, this is the kind of leadership we need in every nation. And it is the kind of leadership that's now building here in Africa and around the world. At the African Union Summit earlier this year, countries committed to increasing domestic investment in health and to being accountable for that commitment, and that committee was led by President Kagame. And at the United Nations General Assembly in September, all 193 UN member states approved the political declaration on universal health coverage. By the way, the two complement each other. The February AU call to action and the political declaration of the UN. And 3 weeks later, at the Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly in Belgrade, Serbia legislators from 140 countries adopted a global resolution to translate that political commitment into reality. Of course, commitments, declarations, and resolutions are only pieces of paper unless they are implemented. But without them, we cannot make the progress we need at the pace we need it. Excellencies, my brothers and sisters, the SDGs give us the mandate to work together for an AIDS-free world. With innovation, community engagement, and strong political leadership, we can make that vision a reality. I thank you. Murakoze Chana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to invite His Excellency Felipe Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, to deliver his address.
Sua Excelência Paulo Kagame, então, ia convidar para irem todos atrás a tradução, canal 3, todo. Sua Excelência Paulo Kagame, Presidente da República do Rwanda, Senhoras Primeiras Damas, aqui presentes, ilustres membros dos governos, estimados convidados, minhas senhoras e meus senhores, de todos os direitos humanos que possamos reclamar, o mais primário e básico é o direito à vida, uma vida digna. As minhas primeiras palavras são de agradecimento à Sua Excelência Presidente Kagame, Presidente da República de Rwanda, pela honra do convite que me formulou para tomar parte na 20ª Cimeira Internacional sobre SIDA e infecções de transmissão sexual em África. Agradecemos igualmente pela calorosa recepção e a oportunidade de me dirigir a Vossas Excelências, partilhando os desafios de Moçambique em relação ao SIDA e doenças transmissíveis em Moçambique. Ao acolher este evento, o Rwanda transmite uma mensagem forte e clara sobre a necessidade de congregarmos esforços para erradicar este flagelo de saúde que pode comprometer os sonhos e projetos de uma África próspera. A cada 2 anos, o ICASA oferece-nos a oportunidade de juntos refletirmos sobre os progressos, desafios e constrangimentos que os nossos governos enfrentam no âmbito do combate a estes flagelos. Por outro lado, tem servido de plataforma para mobilizarmos mais lideranças africanas e toda a comunidade internacional para reafirmarmos através de ações concretas o nosso compromisso contra o HIV e SIDA. Moçambique é um dos países mais afetados pelo HIV na África subsaariana. Por isso, viemos a Kigali para, além de colher experiências, reafirmar a determinação do nosso governo em combater até a sua erradicação a pandemia do HIV e SIDA e proliferação de infecções transmissíveis. Dos mais de 37 milhões de pessoas que até 2018 vivem com o HIV, 68% estão em África. Curiosamente, a África subsaariana representou igualmente a região que mais progressos registrou em termos do número de pacientes em tratamento antirretroviral e de redução de novas infecções por HIV nos últimos anos. Para Moçambique, estes indicadores são o resultado dos esforços que envolvem o governo e a sociedade, em geral, no combate a novas infecções, no tratamento antirretroviral e na prevenção da transmissão de mãe para filho, entre outras medidas. Apesar de insignificante, são ainda fruto de muito sacrifício de decisões pela austeridade que a nossa economia impõe neste momento particularmente difícil que o país enfrenta. Sr. Presidente Kagame, Presidente da República de Rwanda, Excelências, caros participantes, saudamos o lema desafiante escolhido para esta conferência: África livre do SIDA, inovação, comunidade e liderança política, porque chama a nossa atenção para a necessidade de controle rápido e sustentável desta epidemia, no âmbito da agenda global dos Objetivos de Desenvolvimento Sustentável. Para responder a este desafio global, Moçambique introduziu em 1999 o Plano Estratégico Nacional de Resposta ao HIV e SIDA e em 2000 foi criado o Conselho Nacional de Combate ao SIDA, que integra representantes do setor privado e sociedade civil e ainda individualidades de reconhecido mérito como órgão coordenador da resposta nacional. A criação deste órgão resultou no entendimento de que uma resposta médica deveria ser acompanhada por uma abordagem multissectorial, integrando fatores sociais, culturais, econômicos e políticos. Moçambique tem adaptado as estratégias do Programa Conjunto das Nações Unidas sobre o SIDA, o NUCIDA e as diretrizes da Organização Mundial de Saúde, incorporando-as no seu Plano Estratégico Nacional de Resposta ao HIV e SIDA e nas suas políticas e normas nacionais. A título de exemplo, incorporamos o conceito de populações prioritárias, compostas por populações vulneráveis e populações-chave, em reconhecimento da existência de grupos em maior risco de infecção e desproporcionalmente mais afetados. Na área de prevenção, o plano abraçou a abordagem de prevenção combinada do HIV. Igualmente, adotamos a estratégia 90-90-90 na Unicida como formas de acelerar o acesso ao tratamento antirretroviral por mais moçambicanos vivendo com HIV e interromper a transmissão do HIV e assumirmos a diretriz de testar e iniciar da Organização Mundial da Saúde, que visa oferecer acesso imediato ao tratamento para qualquer pessoa seropositiva. Como resultado destes esforços, cerca de 1.300.000 moçambicanos são em tratamento antirretroviral. Com estas medidas, em 2018, registramos menos de 24% de mortes relacionadas com a SIDA em comparação com o início do ano de 2015, quando cruzamos o nosso ciclo de governação. O programa de prevenção de transmissão da mãe para o filho está disponível em todas as unidades sanitárias. Todas as mulheres grávidas, atendidas na consulta prenatal, conhecem o seu estado em relação ao HIV e passam a beneficiar deste tratamento assim que se mostre necessário. Em 2018, lançamos também a campanha Livre para Brilhar, através do gabinete da esposa do Presidente da República, uma iniciativa continental das primeiras damas com o apoio da União Africana e parceiros. O seu objetivo é galvanizar esforços e apoiar a compreensão individual e coletiva das ações para impulsionar a provisão e o uso efetivo de serviços de saúde e de outros para acabar com o SIDA na infância até 2020. Associamos a esta iniciativa a eliminação de sífilis congênita e da hepatite B, numa abordagem que chamamos de tripla eliminação, referente à eliminação do HIV, do sífilis congênita e de hepatites nas crianças moçambicanas. Infelizmente, apesar dos esforços e progressos assinalados, cerca de 1 milhão de moçambicanos ainda não têm acesso ao tratamento antirretroviral e ainda continuamos a perder os nossos concidadãos devido a mortes relacionadas com o SIDA. A retenção nos cuidados tem sido um grande desafio, pois somente 70% dos pacientes mantêm-se nos cuidados e tratamento após 12 meses de tratamento, segundo os últimos dados que apuramos. Ainda persistem barreiras estruturais, incluindo o estigma e a discriminação e práticas culturais que aumentam a vulnerabilidade entre populações-chave e vulneráveis e limitam o seu acesso a serviços de prevenção, testagem, cuidados e tratamento. Excelências, ilustres participantes, se quisermos acabar com a epidemia do HIV, precisamos, como disse o último diretor de saúde, de inovar. Para inovar, precisamos de informação relevante e de qualidade. E parte desta informação virá da documentação das boas práticas que até agora temos conseguido, bem como da pesquisa científica. Precisamos de liderança, à altura de fazer chegar a mensagem certa e mobilizar os nossos irmãos, primeiro para prevenir o HIV e SIDA e depois para cumprirem com o tratamento antirretroviral. Devemos reconhecer o grande mérito da abordagem comunitária e do seu potencial para o desenvolvimento de soluções. As comunidades têm uma responsabilidade acrescida na retenção dos pacientes nos cuidados e tratamento, através da sua contribuição na melhoria da qualidade dos serviços, apoio aos pacientes, nas famílias e nas próprias comunidades e intervenção na luta contra o estigma e discriminação. Precisamos, acima de tudo, de liderança política forte a todos os níveis. Uma liderança que lidera os processos, mobiliza os recursos a aplicar na implementação das estratégias de combate ao HIV e SIDA, uma liderança africana comprometida com a causa. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, a investigação e a inovação devem jogar igualmente um papel fundamental para incrementar a cobertura, a qualidade e a eficiência do sistema de saúde africano e não só. A investigação em saúde realizada no continente deve ser feita de forma colaborativa, mas com um protagonismo cada vez maior de cientistas e instituições africanas. A inovação tecnológica entre processos ao nível do sistema de saúde é uma área que deve também merecer uma atenção especial dos governos africanos. Por exemplo, em Moçambique, podemos citar o uso de tecnologias do tipo point of care e que a implementação destas inovações tecnológicas impacta de forma positiva o manuseio clínico dos pacientes com HIV. As evidências produzidas por instituições moçambicanas guiaram ao processo de implementação destas tecnologias no nosso Serviço Nacional de Saúde e serviram de base para a atualização das diretivas políticas sobre a matéria da Organização Mundial de Saúde. Ao terminar, mais uma vez, quero felicitar o meu irmão, o presidente Kagame, que está a ficar campeão nesta matéria, e lhe felicito e espero que continue desta forma. O presidente Kagame e todos os organizadores deste fórum que devolvem a esperança e o direito à vida digna aos homens e às mulheres. desejar a todos os participantes um debate franco, aberto, inovador e frutífero. Muito obrigado pela atenção que foi dispensada.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for reminding us the urgency of continuing the fight against AIDS on our continent. It is now my honor and privilege to invite our host, His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, to deliver his address. Your Excellency.
Excellency, Philip Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, Excellencies, First Ladies, Excellencies, Heads of Delegation, Professor John Idoko, President of the Society for AIDS in Africa, and ICASA 2019 President, heads of international organizations, and special guest, Dr. Tedros, Director General of the World Health Organization, Winnie Byanyima, Executive Director of UNAIDS, Peter Sams, Executive Director of the Global Fund, Dr. Kaberuka, Global Fund, Board Chair, Ambassador Deborah Bax, yes, Global AIDS Coordinator, Marisol Torren, Unit Aid Board Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I want to warmly welcome you to Rwanda for the 20th International Conference on AIDS and Sexually Transmitted Infectious Diseases. Please feel at home. We are honored to have you here. And over the coming week, we will assess the progress made in Africa toward eliminating HIV and AIDS and related diseases. We are here to share experience and knowledge, but also deepen our collective solidarity to fight this devastating epidemic together. Allow me to recall a few key factors for success. First, open dialogue saves lives. When it comes to sexually transmitted infections, stigma and silence are real killers, just as much as the underlying viruses. Shame discourages people living with HIV from learning and accepting their status and accessing the health care needed to live a full life. ICASA exists in order to break down the taboos that impede prevention and early treatment. You are the ones to speak loudly and clearly. We have come too far in this struggle to do otherwise. Second, AIDS is an epidemic without borders. Much of the success in the campaign to halt the spread of the virus can be credited to global cooperation. It is therefore vital to continue raising the level of support for initiatives such as the Global Fund, Gavi, and PEPFAR, which have made such significant contributions. Governments in Africa, for their part, must prioritize domestic financing for healthcare. Doing so creates a sustainable, long-term foundation for these valuable partnerships. On this note, I would like to express appreciation to the partners who have contributed to Rwanda's HIV control efforts over the years. We look forward to continue working with you to reach the goals we have set. Third, and finally, strong national health systems are the right strategy for managing current and future health threats. Effective health systems have three key components that require sustained investment. One, infrastructure technology. We need modern facilities within a reasonable distance of where people live. Two, people. That means highly skilled medical professionals as well as managers and administrators. Three, trust. Trust enables citizens to believe and act on health guidelines from public institutions and change their behavior accordingly. This is why community health workers have been instrumental in improving health outcomes in several countries, including Rwanda. Let me close with a final thought. Good politics and governance have everything to do with health. There is no substitute for building an inclusive, caring society. Citizens, both young and old, must see themselves as stakeholders with a future to look forward to. Health is about making good choices right now for benefits that may only be felt years later. In other words, a healthy mindset is a long-term. Ultimately, this is what will enable us to win this fight against HIV and AIDS and build the resilience required to handle other challenges down the line. Once again, I thank you and wish you a productive meeting I also invite you to stay here in our country for as long as you wish. Seriously. And enjoy everything we may have to offer, but also to share with you. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that powerful call to action. Distinguished guests, dear delegates, we have come to the end of our opening ceremony, but this is just the beginning of ICASA. Over the next few days, there will be numerous meetings held, abstracts presented, and a variety of activities, including the exhibition, taking place at the community village. We trust that you will participate fully and enjoy your stay in Rwanda for as long as you want. I thank you all and ask you kindly to remain seated as our host and special guests exit the auditorium for a group photo. The following will be part of the photos: Excellencies, Heads of State, Excellencies, First Ladies, Heads of International Organizations, Ministers, Society for AIDS in Africa Board members. Thank you very much. Please allow me to remind you that those invited for the Africa Leadership Meeting will be heading to MH4 right now. Thank you.